Today's show is sponsored by ExpressVPN. Reduce your ping time and get faster speeds when you game at expressvpn.com/inside.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to Inside Gaming Daily for Monday. Let's talk about the next generation consoles, or should I say this generation consoles. Folks, am I right or am I right? And we will talk about which one had the better launch, the PlayStation 5 or the Xbox Series X and S.
This year was a banner year for a lot of reasons, not all of them good. But the dawn of a new console generation is always a special thing. It's a time when we all get rehyped for video games as the big console makers show off their latest and greatest machines.
Obviously, we're just a month into the next generation, but let's ask the question, which console had the better launch, pray tell? To try and answer that, we're going to take a look at both consoles and run down their pros and cons, then we'll have a big old debate about who we thought won. Are we going to have a debate? I don't think none of us are qualified.
Obviously, some of these points are subjective, and there's no right or wrong answer this early in the game.
Yeah, it's not like 2013, where Microsoft clearly fumbled the launch of the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4 went on to become an all-time bestseller. This year, Microsoft clearly learned from its mistakes and has presented the Xbox Series X and S as powerful, but also consumer-friendly consoles. Spoons, I swear to God, if you f***ing leave, all of the hot babes and all of the cool cat people will not be interested in our show.
Okay, so let's get started, and we are going to kick things off talking about the PS5. Its pros are pretty obvious, and the first one is what helped sell the PS4, exclusives. Obviously, the PS5 launched with a couple of eye-catching titles, the Demon's Souls remake and Spider-Man Miles Morales.
Demon's Souls was already a landmark game. It helped kick off the legendary Souls series that introduced basically a whole new genre to brutally tough games. And other games that everyone's taken lessons away from FromSoft. But Sony enlisted Bluepoint Games to make a masterful remake of the 2009 game. It was a smart move by Sony because lots of people probably never played the original Souls game. So therefore, for many, it's like getting a new entry to the series.
Yeah, and for veterans who had played it, the fresh coat of paint was a nice excuse to replay a classic. Critics loved it too. The remake scored an impressive 92 on Metacritic. As for Spider-Man Miles Morales, the game did win a lot of praise, but it got dinged just a little bit, for its length or its lack thereof. It's a shorter game. It's an experience.
The Miles Morales campaign was pretty short, with most people completing it in 7 to 8 hours. Of course, you got a remastered version of the original Spider-Man game too, but overall this was more of a half exclusive.
Another massive pro in the PS5's column was its controller. The hype around the DualSense was that it would represent a big leap forward with haptic feedback and adaptive triggers, both of which would provide varying degrees of feedback based on what you were doing in the game. And spoiler alert, it was a big hit. Reviewers loved the controller, with some calling it the best part of the new system. It did what Sony promised that it would do, provide a more immersive experience, and is that not what the next gen's all about?
Polygon called it a literal game changer. The Verge said that when used right, the DualSense actually makes games better. While lots of times controllers are just an incremental upgrade from the previous gen, the DualSense managed to become a selling point of the PS5, which is an impressive accomplishment for a controller.
The other big pro of the PS5 was the PS Plus collection, a membership benefit if you're already a PS Plus subscriber, which is basically a greatest hit collection of 20 PS4 games. And there's some good ones in there. It ranged from Bloodborne to God of War to Persona 5 and Uncharted 4, and there's a good chance that you might have already played a lot of them. But as an add-on benefit, it was pretty nice.
So, those are all the pros, so now let's talk about the cons. So these are true for both consoles. Number one, supply issues. So the PlayStation was in high demand ever since launch, and there weren't enough to go around. Ask us.
That led to lots of scalping and botting groups gobbling up massive quantities of the console, which meant that a lot of people were really pissed off. And while supply issues are relatively common at the launch of any console, they did seem worse than normal for the PS5.
Yeah, there were also a fair amount of bugs and issues with the launch PS5, so while nothing seemed on the level of a chronic issue like the Xbox 360's Red Ring of Death, the PS5 had issues ranging from its disk drive loudly spinning for seemingly no reason, to an error loop when people were downloading games, to the entire console crashing in rest mode.
People also complained about graphical issues like major artifacting and game stuttering and being interrupted by a green screen. Not great. We'll also talk about the Xbox Series X and S and their issues in a second, but first, let's talk about an issue facing lots of people: baldness. Start fighting it now with Keeps.
As fellas, so much of our identity is wrapped up in our hair. From how it feels after getting a fresh cut to the way it's perfectly styled before going out, hitting the clubs. That's why when we get into our 20s and 30s and start noticing the first signs of hair loss, it definitely feels like panic time because let's face it, no one's ready to go bald. Thankfully, now there is Keeps, the simple and easy way to keep your hair. 2 out of 3 guys will experience some form of male pattern baldness by the time they're 35, and the best way to prevent hair loss is to do something about it while you still have some hair left. You used to have to go to the doctor's office for your hair loss prescription. Now, thanks to Keeps, you can visit a doctor online and get hair loss medication delivered right to your home. They make it easy and deliver your medication every 3 months so you can say goodbye to pharmacy checkout lines and awkward doctor visits. Keeps offers generic versions of the only 2 FDA-approved hair loss products out there. You may have tried them before, probably not for this price. And look, prevention is key. Keeps treatments typically take between 4 to 6 months to see results, so it's important to act fast. The sooner you start using Keeps, the more hair you will save. Find out why Keeps has more 5-star reviews than any of its competitors, and more than 100,000 men trust Keeps for their hair loss prevention medication. Keeps treatments start at just $10 a month, plus for a limited time, you can get your first month for free. If you are ready to take action and prevent hair loss, go to keeps.com/inside to receive your first month of treatment for free. That's KEEPS.com/inside to receive your first month of treatment for free. Thank you, Keeps, for sponsoring today's show.
Now we're going to talk about the Xbox Series X and its lower-powered little brother, the Series S.
Yeah, one of the biggest advantages it has over the PS5 is more power, which is always welcome. The Series X's GPU clocked in at 12 teraflops, which gave it the edge over the PS5's 10.3 flops.
Both consoles boasted solid-state drives for faster loading times, but the Xbox Series X did have a slight edge on power. Not a huge difference, but it's something.
So another big feather in Series X's cap is Game Pass, which is widely considered to be the best value in gaming. Game Pass offers a library of hundreds of games, and importantly, all Xbox exclusives are released day and date on the service.
While Sony has made some noise about announcing its own version of the service, and the PS Plus collection was clearly a response to Game Pass, nothing Sony is offering currently can match up, just in sheer quantity of games. It also helps that Microsoft owns all game studios.
Along those lines, the Series X and S clearly have the edge when it comes to backwards compatibility. Microsoft has made it a priority that the new consoles will be able to play virtually all of the Xbox back catalog, and most of the time looking better than they did in the first place. The PS5 can play most PS4 games, and that's it. And nothing. The Series X clearly has the edge here, and there's that E word again, edge.
Microsoft also unveiled a program called Smart Delivery. So what Smart Delivery is, for participating games, you'll get a free upgrade if you bought it on an Xbox One, for instance, but are now playing it on a Series X. So that's cool. That's good. Consumer friendly. Thank you, Microsoft. Not all games participated though, like Black Ops Cold War, but enough did that it's just a nice pro.
As for the cons, the Xbox Series X and S had a big one at launch. No exclusives. No big exclusives anyway. After Halo Infinite got delayed, the new consoles just did not have a big eye-catching exclusive to compete with Spider-Man Miles Morales and the Demon's Souls remake. Not even close.
So while we're talking about cons, the Xbox Series X and S also had shortage issues as well, with lots of people wanting them, but the supplies just weren't there. Oh no! Xbox executives have said that we can expect those to continue until the spring.
And like the PS5, the Series X and S had their share of bugs and annoyances too. Those ranged from Series X's overheating and shutting off after just 15 minutes, that weird farting sound the system makes when you boot it up, that one was cool, we like that one, and problems people had with the Series X's physical drive, ranging from loud whirring to clicking sounds to the drive simply not working at all. So basically, neither of these had a better launch. I mean, we could pick apart who technically had a worse launch, but they're both pretty disastrous.
You know who had the best launch?
Who's that?
Us.
That's right.
Consumers. Because when companies fight, we benefit.
Well, no, because none of us got one.
Nobody has any.
So
okay, that too, but competition's good. Unfettered capitalism, good, right?
Yeah, let the market decide.
Yes.
Honestly.
Yes. Fair.
Let business regulate business. And I do want to say, the reason that none of us have a next-gen console yet is so we could remain impartial for this very video.
Have a good whatever day it is today.
I think it's
Bye-bye.
Monday. I think it's Monday.
I already said bye-bye.
All right,
This
bye.
video's done.
They could still be listening.